Hi, this is Peggy Clary of Clary Law Offices and one of our estate planning attorneys. And this evening's video topic is really about a commonly asked question we receive about what are duties that attach to a trustee. And these duties are really prescribed statutory tasks which are provided for under the Florida Trust Code. And there really are I like to explain it to clients as your job responsibilities or your job description when you become the trustee of a trust agreement. And they can be very task specific to the trust, so there might be terms under the trust agreement that talk about specific tasks you need to do. And sometimes that same trust agreement can waive off those tasks. And in the alternative, they are always listed under Florida law. There's certain tasks or duties that attach, and they guide your role and your job as a trustee. And these tasks are really important because if you're not completed properly, then you can subject yourself as a trustee, which means you're acting in a fiduciary role, to be brought forth under a suit for some type of breach of trust. And the best part of being a trustee is that there's a lot of guidance in our trust code, but there's really 3 distinct phases of administering a trust. So in our office, we sort of talk about it, because you all know I do love to do the ballroom dancing, as learning the box step. So the first phase is really reading the instrument, the trust document, and understanding what you need to do to accept to be a trustee. And then after that step is done, and your acceptance might be different depending upon what the requirements are, but on average it usually requires a written acceptance. The next step is really letting the trust beneficiaries know that there is a trust administration beginning. You're serving as the trustee, and you're providing to these beneficiaries certain notices under Florida law that advise them of their rights and steps they need to do if they want to challenge the trust or if they need to exert a certain right they're entitled to. The third one is really where you get to go a little bit more outside just going 1 and 2, but our third one is where you marshal trust assets. You figure out what assets are held in the trust name. You also spend some time determining liabilities. So did the person who wrote the trust, called the grantor, owe any money? Has those debts been obligated? Are they valid debts? But if you think about learning a basic box step, we're now beginning to kind of complete the other side of the box. So we've accepted, we've provided notices, and then the third step is we're beginning to discover and identify what trust assets are. And all the time you're doing these steps, you're keeping your beneficiaries informed. Now the fourth step, when we've gone through 1, 2, and 3, would be to move to distribution and wind down of the trust administration. And that has many facets and components. Obviously the biggest one I get is how soon can I get my money as a trust beneficiary, or when can the trustee make distribution. But the distribution of the trust actually follows a very prescribed process under the trust code, and all trust beneficiaries are advised of the various costs of administering the trust. Maybe there was a trust tax return that needed to be prepared, and so that schedule of compensation and plan of distribution gets served upon the trust beneficiaries. And there's accountings done, and then last but not least, once we have either consents or enough time has lapsed, then we can move to trust distribution. And then there's a final wind-up, and then the trust process itself has been completed and hopefully done in a very efficient way for your family. So I hope these 4 basic steps were helpful. Really, it's going to be acceptance, notification, marshaling of assets, determining of liabilities, and then moving on to your distribution phase and wind down. But they're 4 easy steps, and kind of like music, 1 and 2, and you can get a sense that the trust administration process, while not as cumbersome as a formal estate administration, still has some important steps that need to be completed. I hope this information was helpful to you. If you're serving as a trustee, our office is ready to assist you in understanding what your duties are and how to fulfill them. We hope you live a life marked by dignity, respect, and civility. And thanks again for your time this evening.